Hey everybody, it's Karen Dudek-Brannan, and today I am going to talk to you about what it actually takes to finish your doctoral degree. And when I say that, I mean how much time do you actually have to commit to this in order to get it done? Because there are all kinds of crazy things out there being said, like just sit down and do it for 15 minutes a day or whatever kinds of crazy advice you get from productivity people or people who want to give you advice that is helpful but perhaps not so helpful, partially because a lot of it is just bullshit advice that doesn't actually work. So let's dive into the whole just write for 15 minutes a day piece of advice and really dissect why that actually isn't helpful. Well, the number one reason is because it doesn't actually work. So here's the thing about writing and doing any type of massive task like a dissertation. Well, it's hard work, and hard work requires more than 15 minutes a day. The thing about writing is that in order to do a really good job is that you have to give yourself enough time to get into a flow state. And in order to do that, you need more than 15 minutes a day. If you're sitting down for 15 minutes, think about that if you draw the analogy between that and working out. Would you ever go to the gym and work out just for 15 minutes? Well, chances are probably not. Yes, sometimes you can do a quick 15-minute workout, but ultimately what you're doing is that you're basically just warming up and then leaving. So you're essentially just starting the process and then not actually finishing. You're just getting yourself going and then stopping. And then a lot of times, because you know that you're almost at the end of your 15-minute period or whatever it is, you end up thinking, well, I'm not going to get finished with anything that I wanted to do, so I might as well just stop and forget it. I'll just do it again tomorrow. And then what ends up happening is that happens every day until you realize that it's been 6 months and you haven't touched your dissertation and you have not made any forward progress, and your committee is wondering what the heck happened to you, and they're starting to lose faith in you, and you're starting to lose faith in yourself and perhaps feel like a failure and feel like maybe I'm not cut out for this. And then what happens is that you end up starting to talk yourself out of really wanting the degree. And this is almost, what's interesting is that I have found that people do this with romantic relationships as well. So for example, I did this when I got divorced. It was like, oh, well, maybe I don't even want to be married. Maybe I don't even want to be in a relationship. Well, did I really want to be in a relationship? Of course I eventually did, but I'd been burned. I was frustrated. And so my defense mechanism was to talk myself out of even wanting it to begin with. And of course that wasn't true. It was bullshit. I really did want it, but I was in such a state of frustration that I didn't even want to admit to myself. And so I was convincing myself that I was okay as I was, but I really wasn't. And that happens a lot with people who are in their degree program. They use that as a defense mechanism to say, I don't really want that to begin with. But if you really dig deeper, they still do want it at some level. What they don't want is that feeling of dread, the feeling of failure, that feeling of confusion that comes with just not knowing what to do next, and the feeling of failure and frustration that they keep getting when they start to sit down to write. So while the advice just write for a couple minutes a day is helpful in making it seem less overwhelming, it doesn't actually give you what you need in order to move forward. So I am going to share one piece of the system that I share with my clients in order to help move them forward. And while it's awesome if you have 8 hours a day where you can sit and write, that is just not the reality of many doctoral students. Many people do not have that much time. They have full-time jobs, they have families. Yes, there might be certain days when we can devote a big chunk of time to writing, and that's awesome. And I highly recommend that you block out time to be able to do that. But we also need to make this workable for our lives. So the compromise between those big blocks of time And what's actually feasible today is more along the lines of actually just blocking out between 1 to 2 hours a day during the week, and then blocking out one longer period of time on the weekends. So that is really that sweet spot between committing enough and making it feasible for your life if you have a busy, crazy schedule. Because all you have to do is just block out an hour a day during the week at a minimum and commit to that. And if you can commit to that and then commit to maybe one larger block of time, at least 2 hours on the weekend. If you can do more than that, that's great. If not, you can still do it with just a 2-hour block on the weekend. If you can do that, then you can finish a dissertation while working full time, as long as you are consistent with the process. So when you break it down that way, what that does is it makes it less overwhelming. And if you say, okay, 1 hour a day, I can do that. I can do that this week. And if you can do that in your head, that gives you enough time that you are able to get into that flow state and you are able to get consistent work done. If you're blocking it out consistently every day, then you don't have that feeling of, okay, where did I leave off? What was I doing? Where am I supposed to be going with this? You're consistent. You have that momentum. And you are giving yourself enough time that you can actually get it done. Now, the crazy thing that happens is that many times when people commit to just this amount, they end up getting to the point where they build their writing muscle and they make it stronger. And what happens is that they end up writing longer than they thought. But all they need to commit to up front is just that hour. I'm just going to sit down for this hour, whether that be they get up early in the morning, whether that be they write for an hour after their kids go to bed. But if they can do that in one time block, then they can get it done. This can get you over that mental hurdle. Now, of course, if you want to say to yourself, you in your head block up that hour into 15-minute blocks, like, okay, the first 15 minutes is done, the next 15 minutes is done. That's great, but that is just something that you use to help you pace through that process and chunk it out. So if you can do that, you can finish a dissertation. Now, so that is the first step, and that is the first level that I ask my clients to commit to in order to start planning this process. The next layer that I work through with them is what I call the master plan. So, number one, you want to block out the time to get that work done. Number two, you want to figure out what you're actually doing when you're sitting down. So that is that second layer of planning that you'll want to do in order to make sure that you are moving consistently throughout the process. Because if you have something massive like a dissertation, you're going to want that clarity to know exactly what you need to be doing when you're sitting down for that hour, because otherwise you'll sit down and you'll think, okay, what do I do next? And if you don't have that direction and clarity, then that is where you start to get stuck. And then what happens is that those actions that you're taking during that hour, they're not intelligent actions. So I will tell you that it is better to spend 1 hour a day on intelligent strategic action than 8 hours a day on meaningless busy work and crap that doesn't serve you and get to that next level. So if you can figure out a plan to where you are taking intelligent action 1 hour a day, you will be able to finish your dissertation, even if you are working full time, even if you are a parent, and even if you have been stuck in the same place. But it has to be intelligent action. So if you've been struggling to get to that point, that is where I come in. That is where I help my clients to get to that next level, to figure out exactly what needs to be done and to get them into taking intelligent strategic action so that when they are blocking out that time to work on their study, that they know they are moving themselves forward. So if you are at that stage where you are stuck and at any point of the dissertation or thesis process, whether it be figuring out how to get your proposal defended, whether it be the lit review and the writing process itself, whether it be just getting through that final push of writing up your results and your discussion so that you can defend your final project to your committee so that you can get to graduation. If you're stuck at any point in that process, I would love to talk with you to get you into taking intelligent action every day. So all you need to do to get started, what we will do is we will hop on a 45-minute session. So what you can do is hop on a dissertation breakthrough call with me. And what that is a 45-minute session. And what we will do is we will talk through your situation and figure out exactly why you are getting stuck and what you would need to do to move forward. And if it makes sense, and if you are a fit for our program based on where you're struggling, we can talk about exactly what we would need to do to move forward. So all you would need to do to schedule a free dissertation breakthrough session so that you can get massive clarity on what is keeping you from getting to that next level, what you'll want to do is go to meetme.so/Karen Dudek-Brannan. Again, Dudek-Brannan is hyphenated, and you can get to that link below this video. Then what will happen is you will go to a sign-up page, and you'll be able to pick a time that works for you, and then you'll be popped onto the application page where you can give me some more information about your situation. And then our team will call you at that designated time, and we can figure out exactly what's stopping you from getting to that next level. So if you are at any stage of your dissertation or thesis and you are getting stuck, we would love to support you. So go ahead and use that link to sign up for a free dissertation breakthrough session.